Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. And AT&T is very interestingly positioned. I know I mentioned that in previous videos. I know I just recently made a video that the title was "Don't Count AT&T Out," and I still strongly believe that. And a lot of you were saying, I'm still a little bit iffy on AT&T. They're not very, they're not very good at getting their message out to the public. And I completely agree. They're not as vocal. Verizon in recent times, and I mean like very recent, has become way more vocal than they used to be. Like way more vocal. They're letting they're giving you more insight on the actual plans. They're giving you, okay, we're going to do this amount of small cells this year. This is what sites we're touching. In the past, Verizon was never that vocal. It's always been T-Mobile was the loud one and everyone else was working in silence. And it seems AT&T is still favoring the silent treatment. They're not as vocal. They just aren't. They haven't really disclosed any number of total small cells per year or in 5 years, over a 5-year period. They haven't disclosed that. They seem to be moving very slow on C-band, according to the plans that they have discussed. So people are not as confident in AT&T. And the reason I take a different stance on that is because if you look at the industry and the way that it's going, I think AT&T is perfectly positioned to compete, and not only compete, but to even become number one. They are positioned to overtake the number one as the number one carrier. Why do I say that? Because they have unique assets that the others can't match, for one, and they're moving in their own lane. They're operating the way that they want to operate. Everyone, such as Verizon and T-Mobile, have moved on with the option fixed wireless. It's really their only play. AT&T is like, no, we're going to continue doing our fiber at the urban and suburban levels where we already have deep penetration. We're now going to get deeper on it, and we're going to upgrade our existing UVerse or DSL, whatever is existing in the area, and we're going to move to a likely, which is going to be a 100% fiber optic network at some point. I don't know the timeline, but at some point it's all going to be fiber optic. And that works. That's going to work for AT&T. They are predicting to make a $60 ARPU just from fiber alone. And John Stankey made it very clear in his most recent interview. The $26 billion of free cash flow that the others are aspiring to get to, we make that now. And that's before they make the company better. They make better products. They upgrade the network on wireless and home internet. They're already making $26 billion now. HBO Max is growing at insane numbers. They're looking at HBO Max to be 120 to 125 million subscribers by 2025. It's bigger than Disney Plus now percentage-wise. It's on par, or I think they're tied with Hulu. They're set to overtake Hulu, and then they take on Amazon Prime, and then the next one on the chart that I've seen is Netflix in terms of share of streaming services. So that's going to grow. So like I said in the last video, don't count AT&T out. They're making massive internal moves. Just because they don't let you know about it publicly and are as vocal as everyone else doesn't mean that it's not happening. It is happening. They're doing small cells at very large numbers. They're doing millimeter wave where it's taking priority in some markets now. They're pushing millimeter wave. And as I said, if you look at it from an overall standpoint, the others are going fixed wireless. So yes, they did buy more C-band. T-Mobile does have more spectrum, but AT&T didn't need 200 megahertz of C-band. They're not doing fixed wireless. I'm telling you guys right now, I've seen some of the internal numbers. Fixed wireless is going to hog a good amount of capacity on these networks. So the numbers early on that you see at, peak speed wise, you're not going to see that when fixed wireless is on air. Or I should say when more customers have fixed wireless. You're not going to see those crazy peak speeds anymore. AT&T is non-reliant on that. They have fiber. They told us on the analyst day they're going big on fiber. They already have millions of homes served now. The demand for that product is insane. People want it that don't have access to it. They're touching 3 million more households this year and likely in the millions the following year. They have an immense amount of fiber spool that they already purchased. So, and as you see with this article, AT&T evolves FirstNet to help the public safety community stay mission ready. That's not changing anytime soon either. They're going to continue expanding that network at a pace we've never seen before. A lot of people have been bullish on Verizon, and I got to give that to Verizon. They've had the largest network. They purchased regional carriers. They had them operate the tower sites. So Verizon overall is likely still larger than even AT&T. I know AT&T recently said that they may have surpassed Verizon. I think if we really break it down as it stands today, Verizon may just be a little bigger, but AT&T is going to close that this year for sure. This year, they're going to be the largest carrier in the United States. Verizon said they are moving along with a slower rate of tower builds. They're going to do 2,000 sites per year, which was announced in one of the Fierce Wireless articles a couple weeks back. AT&T is doing 5,300 towers this year. And it looks like that's not slowing down next year. They're still set to receive $1 billion reimbursement this year from government subsidies, maybe next year, and then after that they'll have to fund it themselves. But by that time, they're going to be deep in that network. That network is going to be big. It's going to be large. 2.74 million square miles covered of the continental square miles of the United States. That's where AT&T is supposed to be per the FirstNet contract. They're closing in, but they still lack a little bit to Verizon. I know the maps and stuff are hard to see, but like in the Nevadas, the AT&T still has a larger gap there, but they're filling it in. I'm telling you, like I said, 5,300 sites being built this year. Next year, those levels continue. That includes densification, tower expansion, coverage expansion. I mean, everything. Every expansion you can think of, AT&T is expanding. And it's massive from that standpoint because they're not very vocal about it. The products are good. I wish they were more vocal. I wish Thinky would come out and say, look, if you're on Verizon, on T-Mobile, you're missing out. Come to AT&T, we have a capacitive network to offer. They've had more LTE spectrum other than Sprint. They've had the most during the LTE era. They're putting 5, 6, 7 carriers on air now. The backhaul is there. They're the LEC in a good amount of markets. I wish it was more markets, but that's a story for another video. So again, I just wanted to talk about that briefly. Again, last night I had some conversations. I'm like, wait a minute, you're going back and forth about this and that. I'm like, what about AT&T? AT&T they're sitting nice. I'm telling you, they're making $26 billion free cash flow, which means they have a good hold on their debt. They have a good feel for the industry. Yes, they're not the cool network as T-Mobile may be, or they're not as vocal, but they have a good feel of the industry. They've been in it for years now, so they have an understanding of what it's going to take to get the certain customer that they want. They want that higher paying customer the business customer, the more premium customer. Verizon wants that too. T-Mobile, they want, I'm sure they would like to take that customer too, but they're not signaling that to the market. By what they announced yesterday, they want volume. They want volume of growth, and then upsell, 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 upsell. So they'll say, okay, you have a tiered data plan on AT&T. We'll take you. We'll give you unlimited for the same price. So it seems there's no ARPU gain on that at all. So what do they do then? Oh, we can upsell you insurance, home internet. So it's unfolding very nice. I think AT&T is going to shock a lot of people. I think a lot of people's perception are really changing on AT&T because they have expanded the network so massively with FirstNet. With the One Touch, they're getting all their spectrum on sites in the middle of nowhere that are doing 300 plus megabits per second. And that's getting a lot, these days, that's getting a lot harder to see on Verizon, as they have a lot of old legacy LTE towers out there that are band 13 only, and the baseband units outdated. Those sites, they're just not the most efficient and likely don't have the best backhaul on them either. So you're getting very slow, much slower speeds versus AT&T that already modernized, newer radios, all LTE spectrum, single RAN baseband units, better backhaul, and they're pushing 300-400 megabits per second. So let me know what you think about that in the comment section down below. This is just a video to start off this Thursday. We'll see what happens throughout the day. I think yesterday's announcement from T-Mobile wasn't necessarily super big. The stock did go down on the announcement. So we will see what happens. Tomorrow's Friday, so I'll definitely be on the lookout, doing research, checking out stuff. But just as the announcement came yesterday, I just wanted to kind of talk about AT&T, and I think they are very, very well positioned in these businesses that they run, and they have a good feel for the industry. So if you have been on the channel or you're new to the channel and you have not yet liked, shared, subscribed, make sure you do so. Hit the notification bell so you are notified when I do upload content. Make sure to follow the social media outlets for more updates and interactions. Thanks again for watching. This is Tyrone with Tech Life, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.